Picture this. Every morning, millions of people wake up and ask themselves, what am I allowed to do today? They check their bank account, their schedule, their social status, and then decide what's possible for them. Meanwhile, a small group of people wakes up and asks a completely different question. What do I want to create today? That's the first difference between ordinary thinking and elite consciousness. It's not about money, connections, or being born into the right family. It's about how you relate to reality itself. Most people think the elite is some secret club with hidden handshakes and exclusive meetings. They imagine closed doors, special invitations, and mysterious networks that regular folks can never access. But here's what they don't understand. The real elite isn't a group of people at all. It's a way of thinking. It's a relationship with the world that anyone can develop. The moment you start waiting for permission, you've already disqualified yourself. Not because someone said you can't join, but because you've misunderstood what you're trying to join in the first place. Think about it this way. When you see someone living an extraordinary life, someone who seems to effortlessly attract opportunities, who moves through the world with confidence, who creates rather than just consumes, what are you really seeing? You're seeing someone who stopped asking, "Am I allowed?" and started asking, "What's next?" This isn't about arrogance or entitlement. It's about understanding a fundamental truth. The world responds to your inner state. Reality mirrors back to you exactly what you believe about yourself and your place in it. Watch how most people move through their day. They wait for their boss to give them interesting projects. They wait for someone to invite them to important events. They wait for permission to start that business, write that book, or make that change. They're constantly looking outside themselves for validation and approval. But elite consciousness works backwards. It starts with an internal decision and then watches how the external world rearranges itself to match that decision. It's like the difference between being a passenger on a bus versus being the driver. Same roads, same destinations available, but completely different relationships to the journey. Here's the first secret entry point. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your dreams. The moment you need external permission to pursue what matters to you, you've given your power away to people who might not even understand what you're trying to create. This doesn't mean being reckless or ignoring practical realities. It means recognizing that most limitations exist in your mind, not in the world. When you truly decide something is going to happen, you start noticing opportunities that were always there but invisible to your previous way of thinking. The second shift is even more powerful. Elite consciousness sees connections where ordinary thinking sees coincidences. Most people experience life as a series of random events. Things just happen to them. Good luck, bad luck, unexpected encounters, surprise opportunities. It all feels chaotic and unpredictable. But when you understand how consciousness works, you realize that nothing is random. Every conversation, every book that catches your eye, every person who enters your life at just the right moment, these aren't accidents. They're responses to your internal state. The elite has learned to read these signals. When an opportunity appears, they don't think, "What a lucky coincidence." They think, "What is this showing me about my next step?" When they meet someone unexpectedly, they don't dismiss it as random. They ask, "What is this connection here to teach me or help me create?" Now, let's talk about the specific codes that unlock this level of reality. These aren't passwords or secret handshakes. They're ways of operating that completely change what becomes available to you. The first access code is how you use your attention. Most people scatter their attention like seed on concrete. They check their phone every few minutes, consume random content, worry about things they can't control, and wonder why nothing substantial grows in their life. Elite consciousness treats attention like the most valuable currency in existence, because it is. Whatever you consistently focus on expands in your reality. Not metaphorically, literally. Your brain is constantly filtering millions of pieces of information, and it shows you more of whatever you're already paying attention to. The second access code is understanding the difference between reacting and creating. Most people live in reaction mode. Something happens, they respond. Someone says something, they react. The market changes, they adjust. Their whole life becomes a series of responses to external circumstances. Elite consciousness operates from creation mode. It doesn't wait for circumstances to change. It creates new circumstances. It doesn't react to what's happening. It initiates what should happen next. This is the difference between being at the effect of your environment versus being the cause of your environment. The third access code is how you relate to time. Ordinary consciousness treats time as a scarce resource that's constantly running out. Elite consciousness understands that time is elastic. When you're fully engaged in creating something meaningful, hours pass like minutes. More importantly, it thinks in longer time horizons while acting in shorter cycles. Technical moment. If what you're hearing right now resonates with you, hit subscribe. This shows that the information is valuable. There are rules operating in reality that nobody talks about in school, at work, or even in most success books. The first hidden rule is this: energy moves before matter does. Before anything changes in the physical world, something shifts in the energetic realm. Elite consciousness generates the internal state first, then watches as external reality reorganizes to match that internal condition. The second hidden rule: what you resist controls you, but what you integrate empowers you. Most people spend enormous amounts of energy fighting against things they don't want. Elite consciousness takes a different approach. Instead of resisting unwanted experiences, it asks, "What is this here to teach me?" The third hidden rule is perhaps the most powerful. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Your external reality is always a perfect mirror of your internal landscape. Elite consciousness works on upgrading core beliefs, healing old wounds, and expanding identity, rather than just trying to manifest specific outcomes. The fourth hidden rule: timing isn't about when you're ready. It's about when you decide. Elite consciousness recognizes that timing is largely a function of decision. When you make a real decision, the universe starts rearranging to support that decision. The fifth hidden rule changes everything about how you view obstacles. Problems aren't roadblocks. They're upgrade opportunities. Every challenge you encounter is life offering you a chance to develop capabilities you didn't know you needed. Elite consciousness sees problems as confirmation that they're growing beyond their previous limitations. So here we are. You've seen through the illusion that elite consciousness is reserved for a special few. Now comes the crucial part: activation. Knowledge without application is just entertainment. The first activation step is immediate. Choose one area of your life where you've been waiting for permission and stop waiting. Today, right now. Elite consciousness activates through action, not analysis. Take one concrete step before the day ends. The second activation is about attention discipline. For the next 7 days, every time you catch your mind dwelling on problems, immediately redirect your focus to what you want to create instead. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about training your awareness to spend more time in creative mode than reactive mode. The third activation changes how you engage with others. For the next week, in every significant conversation, ask yourself, how can this interaction create value for both of us? Stop approaching people with a scarcity mindset of what you can get from them. The fourth activation is environmental. Look at your physical space. your digital consumption, and your social circle. What influences are reinforcing your old patterns? Make at least 3 changes this week that align your environment with elite consciousness. Here's how you'll know the activation is working. Opportunities will start appearing that match your new level of thinking. People will begin responding to you differently. Problems will feel like puzzles to solve rather than evidence of limitation. The entry points to elite consciousness were never locked. They were always available to anyone ready to think and act differently. The question was never, "Am I allowed?" The question was always, "Am I ready?" If this content has shifted something in you, write in the comments, "I choose elite consciousness." Write it as your promise to yourself and as your declaration to reality that you're ready to operate at a higher level. The invitation is open. The principles are clear. The activation steps are in your hands. What happens next depends entirely on what you choose to do with what you now understand. Nobody